I'll request you to keep monitoring the entries. When Honorable Afidra joins in, please let us know so that we'll be able to recognize him. Oh, I see he has already joined. I see Honorable Afidra has joined, and we're glad that he's already here. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Wilbert, your host and moderator for this evening's talk. I therefore want to request Becca to say an opening prayer before we proceed.
Thank you. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for who you are and for everything that you have done in our lives. We bless your holy name for this nice discussion that we are coming to learn together about smart investment. Jehovah, I pray that your wisdom will be upon the keynote speakers who are going to share their wisdom together with us this very night. How I pray that whatever we're going to learn tonight will yield fruits in our lives at learning them, but we will also put them into practice just as Bible permits us to do. Thank you for being with us. In your name, Jesus, we have prayed. Amen.
Amen. Yeah. Thank you, Becca, for that prayer. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are diving into a topic that holds immense potential for shaping our future. And that topic is smart investment for the youth. As young individuals, we are now at a crossroads where we need to make decisions today, and decisions that can significantly impact our financial well-being tomorrow. And hopefully in this discussion, we'll explore fundamental issues relating smart investment and understanding the importance of starting early, and also learning various investment options that can help us build and secure a prosperous future. Whether you are into entrepreneurship or not yet, the experience this evening might set up a pace for us, each and every one of us. And so therefore, let us towards financial literacy and empowerment together. For our evening's discussion, we have two guests, and I would like to tell you about them. We have Dr. Joel Aita, who is already here. Dr. Joel is a prominent Ugandan entrepreneur and a civil engineer. He is best known for being the founder and executive head of Joada Consult, a consulting and engineering firm. And as his career path, he's been working with construction company, and he has done a lot of projects. And we also know that he is an entrepreneur who has written a book that is called The Entrepreneur's Mind. And therefore, we know that he has been, and we know of his history of resilience. And we hope that today he is going to bring for us a very rich experience in his entrepreneurial life in this discussion. Dr. Joel, you're very most welcome to this discussion tonight.
Thank you so much.
We also have Honorable Afidra Ronald Olema, who is a Ugandan politician. I could say a public health nutritionist. He represents Lower Madi County in the Madiokolo district as a member of the National Resistance Movement Party. In addition to his political role, he has also had extensive experience in food fortification. He has been a coordinator, African coordinator for industrial cereal grain fortification with iron and folic. And he's also known for his entrepreneurship. And we know that he has had investments, the Boki investment and the Jubilee Capital and many other investments that we may not know about. And therefore, I would like you to also, together with me, welcome Honorable Afidra to this platform and this discussion tonight. Honorable Afidra, you are most welcome.
Good evening. Thank you for the warm introductions.
Yeah, thank you. As I said, we have a very important discussion on smart investment, and we will want to dive into this discussion straight away. But we will want to have a session of presentation or maybe some lecture from our guests, for 30 minutes each. And after they would have done their presentations, we'll have a session for questions and answers. So I do hope that you have some questions that you've come along with to present us to our guests, that they will be able to give an insight to all of us here as we look forward to this discussion tonight. And as I said before, I will want to just ask to go straight in the discussions. And first of all, I will call upon Dr. Joel to just give an insight or to have a discussion or a presentation on this topic, smart investment, for 30 minutes, after which he will invite Honorable Afidra to also give a presentation. And after all these presentations, then we will have questions and answers. Please, I do beg you to keep noting down questions or some things that you want to inquire about from the guests. And if you do have any issues that you want to raise, we have a chat where you can put in information, and we'll keep monitoring these chats. And therefore, Dr. Joel, I want to give this platform to you at the moment. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you, Wilbert. I hope you are able to clearly get me.
Yes, you're loud and clear. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Got some bit of flu, so when you hear my voice is a little bit different from the usual. Just know I've been attacked by flu, but I want to thank all of you for this opportunity. You've called me to come and talk to the young people about smart investments. Yeah, it is something which is very key and very dear to me, especially when it comes to the young people, because I have hundreds of young people we deal with every day as far as investments, as far as entrepreneurship is concerned. So it is something I hold very dear. As a small introduction, actually started entrepreneurship quite very, very young, from primary 7, when I decided to employ guys to mine sand, because I stay in Congo zone. There's a river there called Jordan. It used to have very, very good sand, so for construction. So we used to mine that sand. So I got the bigger boys in the village to offer labor to get the sand from the river and get it up. And then later on, I moved into making sweaters. My mother had a machine. So in senior for VAC, I learned how to do that machine. And I started supplying. My first client was actually Kuluva Nursing School. Started supplying Kuluva Nursing School, plus many other clients, which we supplied up to when I was at the university. So at the university, we really made some quite good, a lot of money. Actually, being a teacher's son, I don't think I looked like one at university, because there was really a lot of money. Unfortunately, I didn't know about investment and saving that time. We were just eating that money. I remember I only go and pick Ronald Afidra in Livingstone. We just go and eat the money in one gear. But that was one side of it. And then time reached, we had to conclude university around 2004. So when I finished university, employment definitely was not part of what I thought, because I really was doing already my own things. That's when I started Joada Consult as a small entity, but we have grown to up to the extent of doing now projects in 7 countries in Africa, and we have implemented close to around 300 projects across those 7 African countries. And to me, we have not made 1% of what we are planning to do, because I believe we are yet reaching our target market. Now, going straight to the topic, smart investments. What can young women and men invest in? This is quite a very interesting subject matter, and we'll take it as it is. So I want to start up with, first of all, this subject matter of investments. Many people will want to dive straight to what are the things we can invest in. But I would like to say that before even we think about what we can invest in, the first thing we must do is to invest in ourselves. Invest in ourselves. To me, that is the first thing we need to do. So before you even begin to contemplate the various avenues and financial investments, whether it is in real estate, whether it is in whichever investment opportunities you are looking at, it is essential to prioritize investing in yourself. This means dedicating time, dedicating effort, and resources to your personal growth, education, skills, and well-being. By building a strong foundation within yourself, you'll be able to be better equipped to make informed decisions and navigate the complexities of any investment journey with confidence and clarity. So I strongly believe that the first investment one can do, a young person can do, is investing in themselves. There are many ways through which you can invest in yourself. One, I would say, is skilling. Skilling refers to the process of acquiring, developing, and refining abilities that enhance your personal and professional capabilities. It is an investment in yourself that involves learning new skills, sharpening existing ones, and adapting to the evolving demands in an ever-changing world. This can encompass a wide range of activities, such as pursuing formal education, taking online courses, attending workshops, or engaging in hands-on practice. Skilling is not just limited to technical expertise, like maybe learning some softwares and all that, or learning financial analysis. It also includes cultivating soft skills such as communication, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, and resilience. So, guys, I want to tell you, before you even think of starting anything, build yourself first. Invest in yourself by making sure you have the necessary skills. Do you know how to communicate? Okay, you want to invest in a business. Can you communicate to the clients very well? What about the emotional intelligence? Let me tell you, you get out into this world. Maybe you want to start a business or whatever. If you don't have emotional intelligence, you will burst into pieces, because the investment world out there is not for the simple. It's a very rough one. So you have to make sure you have that emotional intelligence, you have resilience, you have critical thinking, and you can communicate to the people. So that is the first thing you need to do to yourself. Skilling. The second, which is very, very important to us, especially us from West Nile, is building self-esteem. Confidence is not a fluff. It's a fuel. It's a fuel. Youth who believe in their worth are more likely to take calculated risks, like starting a side hustle or pitching ideas. This ties to mental resilience too. Setbacks hit less hard when you've got a solid sense of self. Practical step: surround yourself with people who challenge and uplift you, not just yes men or yes women. Now, one of the biggest challenges we have, especially in West Nile, is we have low self-esteem. I always tell people that the only West Niler who ever had very high esteem was Idi Amin. After him, all of us are just cowards. You even look at, let me move a little bit in the political arena. Look at in the political arena. In NRM, very quiet. In the FDC, where are they? You go to NUP, where are they? Where are the West Nilers in the political arena? Where are they in the business arena? Where are the West Nilers in the academic arena? Where are we? Because we think that we cannot. We can't even see it in our names. Our names are just showing how we cannot. If I took a census of our names here, you'll be surprised how low esteem it is actually. Abiko is better. There's Afidra. There's Drasi, Olema. Asian is, I think, a good name. You take all our names, Avako, Aikoro is a good name. Now, all these point to the low self-esteem. Even you look at applying for jobs. When it comes to applying for jobs, when they advertise for a job, we think that these jobs are not ours. Somebody very qualified thinks this is not our job. So, the moment you have low self-esteem, then no, you cannot even go far, even starting a business. So the first thing we need to do is to build self-esteem as West Nile. For me, I decided to say, we fight with these people. They advertise for a tender, Mulago Hospital. I go and look for international partners. I get a company from Netherlands. I get another South Africa. We partner with them. We bid. And we beat these Banyankole. Hey, we beat them. Then the Banyankole start crying. They start crying. This man, where is he from? This man. I said, hey, we're also people. Then that, let me tell you, when it comes to self-esteem, I think I took the one of West Nilers. I think I took all of it. Now we need to collectively come and build our esteem. Number 2, social capital. Social capital. Before you think of building any business, you need to first build social capital, because that is going to be what is going to open for you ways. Whether you invest in whichever area, you need to have a very strong social capital. Relationships are a currency. Social capital is a currency. So networking isn't just for putting on suits during conferences. It's about building genuine connections with peers, with mentors, or even online communities. A 2023 LinkedIn report showed that 85% of jobs come through networking, not cold applications. You see, for you now see an advert. After seeing the advert, you start bidding for it, you start applying, then you don't get the job, you start crying. What social capital did you put? Did you build a social capital? What network did you build? Let me tell you, you take one time, go where, for those who are in Kampala here, go where the Baganda are drinking, go where the Acholi are drinking, go where the Banyankola are drinking, then you go where the Lubara are drinking. You will understand what social capital each group is trying to build. The rest of the group, wherever they're drinking, their bottles are moving everywhere, but they're discussing about deals. They're discussing about this tender, the other tender, this business, there was this job. Now, you go to where Lubaras are drinking. So-and-so's wife is this, so-and-so is that. So-and-so, what kind of social capital are we building? What kind of social capital are we building? I'm sure most of you know that. So, the moment we are able not to build strong social capital, forget. Forget. No wonder census is showing we are now approaching Karamojongs in poverty. Then, how can you build yourself again? Branding. This is about owning your narrative. It's not just a buzzword. Personal branding is how you signal your value to the world. A consistent online presence. Say, sharing wins or insights on X. A clear identity. What do you stand for? And delivering results, but trust and visibility. Think of it as marketing yourself without selling out. Sometimes I feel sad when I look at people making noise on social media, attacking each other. People are fighting. And yet, you could actually use social media for branding yourself. Do you use it for branding yourself? So, those are some of the 4 things you can actually use to invest in yourself. Skilling, building your self-esteem, social capital, and branding. I want to give you one example. When we went to university, on day 1, class of civil engineering, the year 2000, people were introducing themselves. I'm so-and-so from Gayaza. I'm so-and-so from Budo. I'm so-and-so. Hey, the line was coming. We were seated behind. So when it reached me, I said, I'm so-and-so. I'm Joel from Vara. The whole class turned back. They said, from where? I said, Vara. Definitely Vara. Then there was another guy from Kitukup. There was another one from Kowoko. So when the group started forming, those guys of Budo, they went in, they formed their own group. The guys of Namiliango, they formed their own group, discussion groups. Then we formed our group called Group X, the unknown group. Now, let me tell you, we had 2 options. One option was to feel pity for ourselves from coming from an unknown school, feel bad, feel blame everyone. But we decided to say, if we have come from these unknown schools and we're in this same class of civil engineering with the top schools, that means we're actually better than these guys. And do you know what? 4 of the staff of mine I've employed. They are from those Budos, Nyambiliankos. I've employed them. I pay them monthly salary. One of the unknown guy, he now heads World Bank Procurement Department, South Sudan. Another one has his own construction company. These were the boys who were unknown. But if that day we decided to feel very bad, sad for ourselves, low self-esteem, we even fear to identify ourselves as Lugbaras, as Choli, as Kakwa, as whatever, we'll die in our own movie. But we decided to raise our heads up. We decided to say, you know what? We are not going to. What seemed to be like a bad thing, we actually turned it into something very, very amazing. So that is one of the things I could say. Now, I'm sure we have now invested in ourselves, isn't it? I'm sure by the time we're living here, we are already thinking about how we can have good self-esteem, how we can build social capital, how we can brand ourselves, and how we can skill ourselves. So the first thing you need to do with smart investment is investing in yourself. So we have to go back before even you start thinking about another business. Invest in yourself. To me, that is the best investment you can ever do. That's the most smartest investment you can actually do to yourself. Then, number 2, what other things can we put in? One, I've been looking at how India, how China, they actually grew. China and India, they actually didn't grow because of the big factories in the Namanve Industrial Park and all these. These countries grew because of cottage industry. Cottage industry. You'll be so surprised that you are there removing pieces of meat from your teeth using toothpick. And some Indian has made that with his wife in their garage with a small machine. They make it and they export it to Uganda. They export it to Arua. And we are now there busy removing pieces of meat in our teeth using what they made. And yet we cannot even do it by ourselves. I was looking at the machine for making toilet peppers. Some of these machines are as low as $5,000. That's around 15 million. There's another one for making roofing nails. Roofing nails. It's at $2,000. That is 7 million Ugandan shillings. Cooking oil, manufacturing, paper cup, paper plates, honey, all these machines. You take time and you go on Alibaba, you will be amazed at how cheap you can actually start something in your garage. Very cheaply. Some of the machines are cheaper than the phones some of us are holding in our hands right now here. So as the Indian is busy with his small cheap phone, we're busy begging our boyfriend, some beg their girlfriends to buy for them the latest iPhone. That iPhone you're holding, let me tell you, that's a whole machine. That's a whole machine. You can start a cottage industry in Arua. Now I'm told there's now power. Those days we used to cry, there's no power, there's no what. Now there's power. I don't know what excuse we're now going to give. 2, investment in land. We will be so surprised that you can still get in that side of Olema, that side of Ajia, you can still get an acre at 1 million. You go deep, those sides of Yumbe, you can still get an acre at 500,000. Why don't you buy some 10 acres? And these people, interestingly, you can pay them in installment of a long period of time. Buy this land, plant some trees in it, just keep it there. You'll be amazed how it comes out. Investment in land. We're not talking about this expensive land people are selling in town here. We're talking about getting out of town. Around COVID, we planted some trees here in Olema. We have some land there in Olema. So we decided to plant some trees. So recently I passed there, I couldn't believe it. The trees have grown very big. We're not even taking care of it, but it has grown there. Now that is another smart investment one can do. Then number 4, treasury bonds and treasury bills. Treasury bonds and treasury bills. I have limited minutes remaining, but I need to finish this. Treasury bills and treasury bonds are actually government securities issued by Bank of Uganda. Treasury bills are short-term, 91 days, 182 days, or 364 days. That means it is from 3 months to 1 year. Sold at a discount with no periodic interest, offering returns at maturity. Treasury bonds are long-term. They are normally 2 years to 20 years, paying semi-annual coupons plus the principal at maturity. Both are low risk, backed by government, with a minimum investment of actually 100,000. T-bills suit short-term liquidity, while T-bonds fund long-term projects and provide steady income. Investors can buy through auctions or the secondary market by having a CSD account with your bank. So just starting at 100,000, you can actually start a treasury bond. You can start a treasury bond in a place. So these treasury bonds are what government calls government securities. Governments everywhere in the world, they do treasury bonds, including USA. It is a quick way government uses to borrow money from the public, and it is the most safest investment one can do. The one of this, the one which they released just recently, I think in January, went up to, I think, 17%, plus I think a bonus of 2%. So that went up to 19%. It is actually better than the returns are better than the rental units, because at let's even put at 15%. At 15%, if you divide this by 100,000, 100% divided by 15, that means in 6.6, let's say 7 years, you will have recovered your money. If you had put 100 million, let's even say 10 million, within 7 years, you will have recovered that money. If you put 100 million, within 10 years, you will have recovered that money. So that's what treasury bonds do. And it is as safe as possible. Now, the money they pay you every 6 months. Okay, the small figures, you will not feel the interest rate so much. The interest rate comes when you are doing it a bit bigger. But whether small or big, it is better than keeping that money in your bank account. Coupled with that, we have also what we call unit trust funds. Mostly insurance companies do a lot of that, unit trust funds. But all these insurance companies, actually, when they pick the money from you, they take it normally for treasury bonds, because you find the insurance companies giving you at 12% normally per annum interest. So what they do is once they pick your money through unit trust fund, they will now take it to treasury bond at maybe 16%. So they're giving you 12% on your money, but they're taking you for treasury bond at 16%. So they have already made their 4% investment. So whether you can go through unit trust fund or you go through treasury bonds, either way, those are smart investment ideas one can actually go into. And then you can look at also investment in stocks. Okay, the stocks in Uganda here don't really make a lot of sense, but you can actually do online stocks online where you buy shares in companies in US or companies in whatever. Just it's more slow. Stocks are normally slow. That's why I've actually put it as the last point here. And but I will go for treasury bonds as my number one. I'll go and invest in land as much as possible. I'll go and invest in cottage industry by buying some of these machines. But most importantly, I'll invest in myself as possible. Now, that is where I'm going to stop because my 30 minutes are over. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Joel, for that discussion you've put forward. And I've seen that many people have joined us. I can see Tina joining us from Kenya. I can see Ola from Gulu. A lot of people have joined on this platform to listen to our discussion this evening. You're all most welcome. Even the new members who are just joining in, you're most welcome. And feel free to put in some of your information in the chat. We'll keep monitoring. I see Scovia Bako has raised up her hand. Scovia Bako, would you just keep what you want to say for the next 30 minutes? I want to bring in Honorable Afidra, Ronald, to take us through the next 30 minutes, and then we should be able to take your questions or your inquiries. And I've seen someone put some note in the chat that how do you market yourself without selling out? This is something maybe someone would like to think about, or Joel or Afidra, to maybe later on elaborate on. Thank you so much, Joel, for talking to us about those key points. And therefore, I want to give some moment to Honorable Afidra to come on board. Honorable Afidra, you're most welcome.
Thank you so much. I want to applaud when I tell you my younger brother Joel, for those words. Some of you will think that because he's bigger than me, he's my elder. Joel, so thank you so much for speaking the words that work.
But you, man, we have a difference of only weeks. So you can't say you are elder or what?
Even twins have got an elder, the one who comes first by minutes. So once an elder, always an elder. Thank you so much, Joel, for the words that you've spoken, which works. And I hope our members will take it for those 4 key words, from skilling to self-esteem, social capital, branding, and the rest. You have summarized my work and you've made it very easy for me. So I want to pick it up from smart investment. If you have 1 million, if you have 500,000, if you have 10 million, if you have 100 million, whichever money that you have, how can you invest this money in a sector, in an investment that can bring for you returns much more than you would expect? The returns that can make you a little bit much more better than where you are now. A lot of the sectors Joel has gone into. But let me just speak these words. Joel talked about government bonds. Just a question, Joel, what are the government bonds going now? Is it 12%, 14% per annum? What is the interest rate on government bonds? Joel, can you hear me?
Yeah, Honorable Afidra, I think they are between 11 and 13 as of now.
Excellent.
No, I don't have the exact figure, but it's a double-digit interest rate.
Excellent. Now, the government bonds literally tells the Ugandans that if you have any investment to do in any business, you should be able to invest in a sector that brings you an interest or an income more than 11% per annum. So a Ugandan, the bare minimum for us as a regulator, as by government, as a regulatory agency, is that you have 100 million, you want to invest in a business, be very smart. In a year, this money, you should be able to get 112 million per year. If you're not wise, you do an investment which brings you a return less than that, you're not wise. That is where smart investment begins, and government sets the bare minimum. That says, we as people, the young generation, all of us, we should be able to understand, if you're investing, what is it that you want to invest? Do you know actually what you're investing? Most of us tend to invest money, which I said you have 1 million, you've got as a savings or as a loan or wherever the source is, you do want to have it invested in whichever sector. So one fact I want to share, and I agree with Joel, is that we should have knowledge about money. That is self-knowledge. You should be able to understand what actually money is. What is this money that you are holding, you want to invest? If we should learn around money and be able to handle money, just like you are handling a commodity, something which does not do anything wrong with you, you can be able to go well with your investment. So most people say money is a measure of wealth. And therefore, if you invest money into an investment, that is your measure of investment. So the question then becomes, how much do you have to invest? What is it that you want to invest in terms of money? First and foremost, I'll keep emphasizing, let's have knowledge. And what is this knowledge? My only addition to what Joel says, investing in yourself, is you should have financial knowledge. Financial knowledge. Financial knowledge. All of us, we're talking in English. That means we have bare minimum education. But all of us went to education that did not tell us how to manage money that we want to invest in. Our brothers, our parents, our mothers send us to school. Let's understand the lineage. Go to school, study PCM, PCB, you become an engineer, a doctor, a lawyer, a teacher, a social worker, a food scientist, and you go and get employed. After getting employed, you get your salary, a paycheck at the end of the month, and you become a slave to somebody where you're working in, whether in whichever sector. That is the kind of education that we went through. And through this, nothing like financial education is involved. First tick recommendation is, let us go whether online, whether workshops, whether training about financial education, so that we can be able to invest smartly and invest wisely. We need then to combine this financial education with more information in the world, in the sector you want to invest in. You can have the financial education, but you now need to know which sector of the economy you want to invest in. There are quite many, as Joel indicated in his submission. However, In Uganda, per se, we should learn where and how do people in Uganda make investments or initiatives to make money? What ideas in which sector are the Ugandans involved in to make money in smart investment? To a larger extent, money is in the government, but in government not being employed, but being in the private sector. Show me where a government person who is rich, relying on salary alone, will not get it in Uganda. Why? Because there are three fundamental issues that affect our investments if you are not smartly doing it in this country. That is the money system, how the money in Uganda works. Most of the money in our investment sectors works through taxes. Once you invest, you will be taxed. Once you are employed, you will be taxed. Once anything happens with your small 1 million for investment, if you do not do it smartly, taxes will bring your investment down. Inflations will come and work against your initial 1 million investment you wanted to do smartly, whichever sector you wanted to do it in. Some schools of thought says, before you invest, you should save. But I have another idea, that saving in the banks is giving your money into the hands of the banks, because Bank of Uganda has given the commercial banks a rate. If you give them 1 million, the banks will lend out 100 million because of your 1 million investment. I mean, you've saved with them. And they will give it as a mortgage or as a loan. And the loan is above the bond rate. The loans in Uganda are above 11% because that is the bare minimum of doing business in this country. So the loans will, your savings will be given out as a loan, and other people will be making that investment work for them. So as young people, educated as we are, I had a question. Are we called the educated young who are poor, who do not know how to invest smartly, or we are the young who are educated and are investing smartly? And I want to believe that's why we have this conversation tonight. My second area is, if you want to invest smartly, a man should look into the future. Just propel yourself, imagine your future. In the next 5 years, in the next 10 years, how would you wish, after getting the knowledge, after getting the basics that Joel elaborated on, how would you wish your investment to grow smartly in the next 10, 5, 20 years into the future? How do you want to relate in the coming years with? This means, along the way of your investment, smart investment, I want to urge us, we are bound to make so many changes in our life. Changes in our lifestyle of whom we relate with. You remember what Joel says? The drinking groups of the Western Islands compared with the drinking groups of the other regions and what they discuss. Your social capital will define how your investment portfolio will grow or will come down. Statements are said. If one rich man lives among 9 poor men, he will become the 10th one. Just like if you're one smart investor, you hang out with people who have no idea about investment, the little from you will be taken away by this many. You'll become just one of them. So along your way of smart investment, you need to learn whom you hang out with to get which kind of knowledge for your investment to grow. When where you will get the best advice from. I had a statement. Have we heard of these people who call themselves, land brokers? Land dealers, they call themselves brokers. One person made me understand. Why are these people called brokers? I want to buy land and a broker comes to me. That literally tells you that these people are broke. They don't have money. You are more rich than them. But you, with your money, with your whole investment, you are seeking for an advice of how to get this property, buy this property from a broker. I want to assure you, if that is your way of thinking, you're bound to make a wrong investment decision, because they are pitching to sell a product. They are not about to make you rich. They are about to make a deal on your money. So whom do you get, where do you get your advice from as you want to project yourself to into the future? For example, if today in your investment scheme you have 10 million, you would want to say, no, I think in the next 5 years, I want to be worth in my investment 100 million. And this will make you work harder along that path. The third question is, which I want to answer, maybe people can ask me or Joel. What can I then do to invest, to smartly invest in these sectors? What can I do? People have money. I have ideas. These are the questions that we always face with. There are many things, my brothers and sisters, you can do in this world. And the fundamental answer, if you can hear me well, is that the world is filled with problems. And the better question would be, what problems do you want to solve in the world? All other smart investors are solving some problem in the world. What problems do you think you have a gift by God to solve uniquely in the world? I have not seen any person who solves a worldly problem remains poor. Whether in a ministry, bringing people from the kingdom of the devil to the kingdom of the light, God will always bless them. Whether it is a problem of solving HIV, they will get ARV and the world will consume it in preventing. Or they will get condom for preventing HIV and the person will become rich. Even if it is a problem of malaria, they will keep making drugs and these people will be rich. If it is a problem of whatever you mentioned, there's a problem and the question remains, in your smart investment, what problems in the world are you gifted in, you want to invest in to solve, to invest in? That way, you can then grow yourself. Your investment can grow in answering a world problem. But fundamentally, do you want, or are you willing to work in solving this problem yourself? Or you want to be employed by somebody in solving this problem so that you're given a paycheck at the end of the month? This is what separates an entrepreneur, an investor, from the commoner in solving the worldly problem. We'll just give an example in West Nile. Gaga wanted to solve the problem of transport by bringing the Gaga bus. Indeed, the problem was sorted out. He made a mark and he transformed the bus transport system in Uganda. And that was his legacy and his contribution in solving that problem. Through that, he made his money. So as we think through, there are so many problems in the world of what you can do to invest in. And we can ask ourselves so many of these questions in the world today. Allow me just give you an example of smart investment in addition to what Joel says as problems in the world. Let's come home in Arua. Every time people travel to Arua city, they will either eat food, therefore they need what? A restaurant. Every day people are eating the basic food. Every day people want to drink water, thirsty, good water. Now people want coffee shops. Every day the men and women wants to be smart by shaving their hair, saloon. Things which are common and brings money. What are you solving? You're solving a problem to the women or the men who are within our locality. Another problem, accommodation. Talked about the real estate, the land. People want to sleep and sleep in good homes. You can begin small with the one room, which you put on rent. Another time you add another one. However small it is, because accommodation is every time needed in our society. Problem, accommodation. People want dressing. You need to go to a skill. Joel dressed. Was it Monigal? That I used to even go and work with the knitting facility, because these are the things which worked, and he made money. Because I would go and work a little bit for him, I would get some income. So what is it that you a problem in our society we want to invest in? The more complex ones, ICT. You remember during Corona, people had to invest in ICT. Goods can move, ordering things online, the likes of Alibaba. But we have the locals one. We need to think outside the box in our investment, in our smart investment, so that we can be able to become better in the next few years. The third question is I would like Angozo to pull out for me what I said, our self-situation or our self-assessment. Because we are people, I got a small form of aha. This I adapted from Robert Kaisosi. I keep reading a lot. I wanted us to make it very practical as we start our journey of investment, smart investment, in the next 10, 20 years. My fundamental question I want to give to each one of you is, there are two things in life, in my view, as a smart investor you need to do. One, you need to have your income statement of your investment, and then of course the balance sheet. Currently, as we talk in 2025, if I am asking Mawa Baker, as we talk today, how much income do you get from your investment? Salary is not an income, if you can treat it. What is an income? An income comes from something that you do that brings for you profit. You take away the expenditure, you take away everything, you're left with something as income before it is taxed. It can be from a shop. Yeah. It can be from a rent. It can be from the sectors that Joel talked about. What is it you have today? The month that ended yesterday, how much income do you have? In the event that you have zero, you just put there zero as Baker. Now, how about your expenses? Because we're talking about investment. How much do you spend in a month. Just add up your expenses. You will realize you've been spending on boda. You've been spending on food. You've been spending on leisure. You've been spending on so many things. But on your income statement, there's nothing. But on expenses, you are spending more than what you earn. Now, if you are having an investment, how will this investment grow? It becomes a question for you to answer. But don't worry. We are talking about a journey that we are making on the 6th of March 2025 in the night. That today we want to transform ourselves. That income statement for Baker, I'm using as an example, after 5 years will change to something else. Now you go to the balance sheet, pull it down. This is the key thing all investors should have in play. We have our assets, which is money coming in, and our liabilities, which is money going out. Assets and liability. In investment, in smart investment, we must be able to balance these two. Your asset column, Robert Kiyosaki says, any person will say, if you want your income to increase, grow on your asset column. Grow on items that bring for you income so that your liabilities will be low. Maybe currently, some of you are renting, some of you took a loan, which they call mortgage, in a house. Your residence might be, you might be paying a loan on. So that is a liability. You're not getting any income from your house, whether it is a home, whether it is rented, because your home is not an asset. That is a liability on top of everything that you pay on. So these two balance sheets, I would wish us tonight, fill it up. By yourself, fill it up. Then project yourself. How much do you want these things to change in the next 5 years? How much income do you want to have every month, every year in the next 5 years? How much do you want your assets to grow in your investment so that it becomes smart? This is what I wanted to share with the team. Now, Joel summarized on the sectors for smart investment. You need to calculate in all of the sectors that you want to invest in, whether it's been in trading. Bare minimum, I still say, your returns of investment, returns on investment should be above what government gives in the bond. Even if you take a loan, you're paying an interest, you're paying the principal, whatever you get should be above what government offers in the bond. That way you become a smart investor. What will be the returns on investment in? I want to agree with Joel that there are certain sectors which are very good for us within our economy of Arua, within our economy of Uganda, within our economy of West Nile, within our economy of Africa, East Africa, where we can get investment in. Some of us are packed in the bottle. We do not want to think outside the box. Allow me just say this. 80% of the people of West Nile, they have what brings for them income across the board in Congo or South Sudan. And these are businessmen, whether in whichever sector, but they're doing good. Sometimes we have our ideas, we pack them inside the box. We do not want to open and venture beyond our boundaries to be able to invest and do and tap into our full potential where we can be able to grow in. That said, I would like to now end because it's a short talk. A lot of it will come through our interactions and in questions. Along the way of our smart investment, whichever sector you are in, there are lessons. Let us prepare ourselves to learn along the way. One, you are bound to make mistakes. And these are financial mistakes. Sometimes they say you are bound to make wrong decisions. These wrong decisions, as I said, can come from people who give you wrong advices, or can come from your personal failure, or can come from wrong choices. But in entrepreneurship, in smart investment, I consider it as a child learning how to ride a bicycle. All of us who know how to ride bicycles, before you learned how to ride, you must have fallen down many times. Some of us even got hurt in the process of learning how to ride a bicycle. You fall down many times, but your desire ultimately is to, at the end, you should learn how to ride. The joy of riding outweighs the pain of falling down. However, how many times you make wrong decisions, we might be smart to come back, regather, and overtake these challenges of mistakes and become much more better as a smart investor. Two, that couples with failures. Many around us will begin to consider and talk about us we have failed, labeling you as a failure in your investment, labeling you as a garbage, that so-and-so tried this, so-and-so tried this, so-and-so tried this. But keep moving forward. Keep moving forward because you don't walk alone. There are many people around you. Failure, somebody said, planning to fail is failing to plan. Therefore, I want to urge us along the way for smart investment in whichever portfolio you've chosen. Have a good strategy, have a good objective, have good financial education, select a sector where you have control and experience in, and therefore you can be able to manage. Sometimes it is always good in the beginning never to delegate your small resources to be managed by somebody. I have one example to share with you people. Just one, my personal experience. I'd wanted to venture into cattle keeping, which I've done. In Madi, we have a lot of land. I got even land. But my strategy was I went to Western Uganda. That was in 2016, 2017, to buy 2 trucks of Ankole cows. And in my village in Madiokolo, I bought quite a number. The total of the cows that I bought, within a spell of 2 years, were close to 120 cows. I put them in a kraal, which belonged to my uncle, with the aspirations that I'll transfer them to my land. But a calamity happened. All my 120 animals, within 3 months to 6 months, after 6 months, there was a lot of rains sometime back in 2019, 2020 in Madiokolo. And all the cows disappeared. When I went to check in the kraal where my cows are, those I used to tag, those I used to do so many things on, milk would come. I felt I was going to be rich like just the Banyankole, the cattle keepers. Alas, all the cows disappeared, and I was told just one remained with its calf. I felt it was a tragedy on me as a young man. But I never gave up. I gathered up. Much as it was a tragedy, it couldn't stop me from my aspirations. So you may fail, but never give up. That's my message in smart investment. But the opportunities, there are people who are all around us, who can advise us, who can work with us in our way of investing smartly. Finally, people respect those who have money and those who have education and knowledge about money. The poor in our community are not respected. Even if an uneducated person has money, he is highly respected than an educated person without money. That is the setup of our community. So the choice is ours to make the world a better place. One day we were Joel, and we kept talking about, and I want to just remind us of one thing. Tables, chairs are hidden in a tree in a way of furniture. It takes me and you to convert the tree into furniture and make the tables and make the stools. They say shoes is hidden in the skin of an animal. It takes me as a cattle keeper to convert the cows into shoes. Clay, tiles are hidden in the clay. In West Nile, we have a lot of clay, which you can convert into tiles, into whichever way. Glass is hidden in sand. We have the resources. But what ideas, what problems do we want to solve with our smart investment in West Nile? There are quite a lot. Let us start now. Let's not delay. Let's start now so that the next 5 years, when we fill these forms, we will evaluate them. The next 10 years, we'll evaluate them. How much has your income portfolio grown and how much has your asset grown in your smart investment? Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Afidra. A very big thank you and appreciation to all our guests this evening for sharing with us and for giving us those insights on smart investment. And we have now 13 minutes to the end of our discussion this evening. I don't know whether this time is enough for us to have questions and answers, but however, I will ask that participants in this meeting can now keep their questions coming. As we wait for their questions, I have some set of questions that I would like to push forward to our guests this evening. I don't know how to put these questions, how to distribute them, but maybe I will just say maybe the first set of questions I will give them to Dr. Joel Aita, and then the second set of questions maybe we'll go to Honorable Afidra. And yeah, the first set of questions, Dr. Joel, you can take note of these questions, is that number one, mistakes that young investors make, and how can they be avoided? What are some of the common mistakes young investors make, and how can they be avoided? Question number two, what are the long-term benefits of starting to invest at a young age? What are the long-term benefits of starting to invest at a young age? Question number three, how can young investors stay informed about the market trends and investment opportunities? How can young investors stay informed about market trends and investment opportunities? And the last question maybe for Dr. Joel is, how can investors balance risk and return on their investments? How can the young investors or entrepreneurs balance risk and return on their investment. And then the next set of questions, maybe we'll go to Honorable Afidra. And the first question is, what are some of the common mistakes young investors make, and how can they be avoided? No, this was already a question that I've given to Dr. Joel. And then maybe the next one, what are the key differences between short-term and long-term investment strategies for young investors? What are the key differences between short-term and long-term investment strategies for young investors? And question number 2 for Honorable Afidra, how can young investors stay disciplined and patient in their investment approach? I'll repeat that question. How can young investors stay disciplined and patient in their investment approach? Another question, how can technology and digital platforms be leveraged for smart investment for the young people? How can technology and digital platforms be leveraged for smart investment for the young people? These are a set of questions I've had for you. However, our chat is open for you to keep bringing in more questions as we give time for our guests to maybe provide some responses based on their experience on entrepreneurship and investments on these other questions that we have raised. Jonathan, your hand is up. Maybe you can bring in your question.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Angwandia and our honorable guest speakers for this evening. Just a quick one. Ever since the COVID season, we have seen a certain transition in the world in the way in which how things are done. Now, most of the things, social media became a paramount base that was set for people to set their lives in. Businesses mostly moved online up to today, and everything basically moved online. The internet became the most famous thing, and up to now, that trend has not changed. Now, I'm talking about someone who does not have a smartphone, does not have access to the internet, and they are probably operating like a small boutique somewhere, and they've put in their business. And I'll give an example, like a place like on Njovu Street in Arua. You go, everyone is doing the same business. It's either a saloon or there's a boutique somewhere. My question then is, how do you advise us if we want to set up a business to break the issue of breaking the market, finding people that are available to buy your products each and every day? Because you look at places like that, every day people are opening that business, but how much make money from the businesses they try to open up every day and they have to pay rent? So how can we break the market trend and we have ourselves available to people to look at our products and also buy from us? That is my question. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Jonathan, for that question. Maybe those who will be coming next, I will request that you keep your questions very brief. Anyway, Dr. Joel, I think you can go on. You already came on to give a response. Yep.
Thank you. I think to make it a little bit orderly, we could, if there are questions, maybe they could put it in the message, in the inbox,
Yep.
So that we can keep on talking in the limited time available. Thanks, first of all, Ronald, for the elaborate details you've given for us in this presentation. So somebody has asked, what are some of the common mistakes young investors make and how can they be avoided? I will answer that together with the how can investors balance risk and return on the investments? How can young investors get trends? First of all, mistakes is I always say is very, very good to make, especially as a young investor. you end up learning quite a lot from the mistakes you make. How to avoid them? Sometimes, yes, don't purposely go into mistakes or losses, but sometimes it's very, very important to have them, especially as a young person. It's very, very important sometimes to make a loss when you're actually starting a business. Not that intentionally you make the loss, but when you make the loss, the learning you get out of it is actually very paramount. It makes you to avoid bigger mistakes in future. But you can decide to have a calculated mistake or a calculated risk when you are really putting in whatever you're doing. Calculated in such a way that you know, okay, I'm going for this. Let me make sure if it is a loss, it is not fatal. It is not going to bury me completely. You go in a way that you know it's manageable. So when you are moving into, especially in entrepreneurship, you have to make some very, very serious decisions. Some of them are very risky, but like I said, you have to make sure they are very calculated. Like, for example, when I decided to start Joada Consult, I was just 27 years old, and I was working with one of the biggest consultancy companies in the world, a German company. The boss liked me. He really wanted me to work with him. But I'd already made up my mind to start Joada Consult. So did I just walk out one day and move out? No. I had a calculated risk. Yes, definitely. Moving out to go and start was a risk. But how did I calculate the risks first? One was a year before I actually resigned. I planned. So every month I'll buy something. I'll buy a desk. I'll buy a chair. I'll buy a computer. I'll buy a printer. Calculating. Then 6 months to resigning, I started saving money. In Nkumba, there used to be, there's a restaurant there called S&S, where students will pay for a whole semester. I went there, I discussed with them. They allowed me to pay food for a whole year. I can't remember how much food was. Now, you remember I was now marrying somebody's daughter. When you are alone, you can easily drink supper. I think young people understand me when I say drinking supper. But now you're with somebody, you have to make. What I did was I went to SNS. I negotiated 2 plates for 1 year. I cleared that. I think a plate was like 5,000 or something like that. I can't remember the actual figure. So I cleared for 1 year. That meant that the worst case scenario will at least eat once a day. Then I went, I cleared the rent. I remember that time our rent was 250,000. A 2-bedroom house. I cleared the rent for 1 year. Then I cleared the medical insurance for 2 people, also for 1 year. When I finished those 3 things, I boldly went to my boss and said, you know what? I'll be leaving you. In the next 6 months, I'll be leaving. He couldn't believe it. And when those 6 months reached, indeed I left. But it was a calculated risk. Then things moved on. Things were moving on very well. I thought so. And food was there, medical call was there. At least there was a house. And I remember whenever I would get a small deal, I go and increase the rent. I pay 1 more year or two more years. Or I go and pay for food, you increase. Because every month which ends, it's going towards the red zone. So you have to balance that so that you don't move into problems. Why you need to start investing at an early age? Definitely, the earlier you invest, the better. When you start it early, you keep on learning so many things along the way. The mistakes you make, the things you learn along the way. And as an entrepreneur, there's so much you actually find yourself going through. One of the things you learn when you're still young is you have to have very thick skin. Very, very thick skin. Otherwise, if you don't have thick skin, you'll just disappear. You have to have very thick skin because you find yourself going through quite a lot. Like some of us who are working mostly for government contracts, like us for the last 3 years, I've been demanding government for close to around 15 billion Ugandan shillings, not paid. Now you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to keep on moving. So all these you learn it as you're moving. But the younger you are, the more you're actually able to push them. And the skin becomes more thicker, the skin becomes more you're able to withstand some of these things. But when you go higher, when you become older, the risk becomes a bit, you become very careful taking some of these risks. It becomes very, very deadly to take some of these risks. You can break your legs. See, when you're young, you can break your legs, and within 2 months the bones are joining. But now, when you're around 60, you break those legs. You can stay there for over years when the bones are not joined. So the younger you are, the better you start. You make some of those mistakes. Some of them are corrected along the way. You keep on moving. Before you know, you become better and better, and things become better as you move on. And so you find yourself being able to acclimatize and get better as you're moving on. And somebody says, is it bad to use your salary as a startup capital? Definitely. It's a good thing. You can use your salary as a startup capital. I always advise most people not to start with a loan. A loan can be a big problem for you when you do a startup because have very high level of collapsing. That starting it with a loan, it becomes a very big problem. But you can actually start with a salary. If you make a loss, the next 30 days, another money will come back. That one is not much of a problem. But if you start with a loan and then it collapses, and by the way, when you sometimes people fear to lose money. He starts business. When he puts business and then he loses the money, he wants to run away from it. But you see, what you have not done is that you have not learned from that loss. I will give you an example. We started with my wife. We started a chicken business in Entebbe. First of all, started with broilers. Broilers 5 months. 5 weeks. It's ready for sale, and it was moving very well. We decided to move into layers. And we went ambitious. We started with 1,000 layers. And there was a place in Kajansi who were selling cheaper than Yuga Chick. So we went for that cheaper option. And these layers, you feed them for 6 months, and then after 6 months, every day you earn money. Every day you are collecting money. But for the 6 months, you really spend a lot of money on those boys. I mean, those girls. We fed these guys, they ate money. 6 months, no egg. 7th month, no egg. When it was reaching around 8th month, we decided to call a vet to come and check. Checking. We were feeding cocks. We were feeding cocks. Let me tell you, that month we ate a lot of chicken. Beans was even becoming better to eat now because chicken was too much. Now, should we run away? We would have said, let's run away from rearing chicken. But we will have failed to learn from those 6 months lesson. So we decided to learn. We said, you know what? Let's go back to Yuga Chick. Let's go and buy from Yuga Chick, not this cheaper option. And then 2, let's not go 1,000. Let's start with 500 or 250. Actually, Yuga Chick, we bought 250. If we had run away from that lesson, we wouldn't have learned anything. So that's why I say sometimes loss is actually very, very important. So when you make a loss in a startup, don't actually run away from that startup. You learn from that loss and then make it better. Make it better before you know you actually become an expert in that business you're doing. So that is it. Yeah. And then also learn from mentors. Make sure you get a mentor, somebody you can learn from, somebody you can learn from his mistakes so that you don't make the same mistakes he's making. You put yourself in his shoes and you're actually learning from that. So those mistakes, they're really, really very good. We have made quite a lot of them. Some we just walk in. We got caned in Juba in 2013. Properly, we got caned. It was actually my first, I think, hopefully the last, to be arrested. I was arrested. They charged us in Arabic. I don't know up to now why we were even arrested. But didn't I go back 10 years after? 10 years after we went back. And we're now doing a World Bank project in South Sudan. So we learned. So the other day, my architects were saying, "No, we cannot go." I said, "You guys, I've been arrested there before, so you rather go." But yesterday we had to evacuate them when bullets were too much. We had to evacuate them back to Uganda. So you find some of those kind of things you really learn a lot from them.
Yeah.
So that is it. That is it. Yeah, Bishop Richard is talking about putting it in a book. Yeah, actually, I've written a book on entrepreneur's mind. Unfortunately, it's not on any bookshop. We sell it by ourselves, by order. So if you can want to get that, we can be able to give you. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Joel, for those responses to the questions. And then hopefully Honorable Ronald is ready to also come up and give some responses. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. The first question is short-term and long-term investment strategies for young investors. What could be the difference? It's quite challenging at the moment, but there are fundamental strategic differences between the two. I want to just share it practically with my example. I did have bulky investment. I started with bicycle, which was a short term. Short term, it means between 3 to 5 years. Depending on your income level, you invest in a sector where you can control, you don't borrow, and your salary, you can be able to get some returns. I got 6 bicycles, and every day, out of the 6 bicycles, they were giving me 1,000 per day. So I was getting 6,000 from the 6 bicycles on a border in Arua. And then they went for about 1 year and 2 years. Imagine 6,000 times 30 per month. Those were my estimates. Then I went to a few motorbikes. Then I graduated in the 5th year. Actually, in the 4th year, I graduated into my car, which I put on hire myself. These days, they call it Uber, but I was hiring it out to consultants, short term. And then I used to import vehicles from out. And from the experience of managing bicycles in Arua town, borders, I was able to learn and accumulate experience in my investment skill in managing a logistics company called Boki Investment, where we had my cars and Prados, 2 trucks, and 2 buses in the long term. So short term, manageable, small capital, and as it grows, it moves into long-term strategic investments. You can buy a bicycle, which stays for 2 years, and you buy a vehicle which stays for 10 years. So short and long-term. The investment portfolio is small in short-term investment. In long-term, they are quite lump sum. The other issue is that some of the investment sectors for long-term investments include mortgages. You can get a mortgage or a loan to buy a house, which you keep paying every month for 20 years. So that is a long-term strategy. Vis-a-vis, you get a short-term loan from the bank, you buy a piece of land, and you partition it into small portions, you sell it out within 2 to 5 years. Within a short term, you're able to pay back. Those are the differences, depending on the sectors. But the period of time, the quantity, and the sector determines what strategy you want to use for which kind of investment. So long-term versus short-term. The other second question is, how can you stay disciplined and patient as a young smart investor? This is the biggest challenge in my view. If young men, women, we cannot stay with the big money at home, silingi kaedoba for send a million yalo, million mudri, 20 million, 30 million, you've got your profits for the year, 100 million. Once you feel something is wrong with you because you have money in the house, just know that you need God. There's a problem with you. You're not a smart investor. Now, indiscipline is what is killing many more of us. Indiscipline as an investor or as an entrepreneur. I'll give you an example. You are having a good business in a year. You've made 100 million. Immediately, a young man would look into buying a vehicle, which is not to be used for business, but because Joel has a vehicle, I too need to have a vehicle in my investment. Obita, the pressures of the youth. Maybe people go to Dubai for holidays. You begin to spend your money. Let me tell you, send a kadomi for send a kaami driachi, as if you can do anything with the money. Statistics has it that the middle class in our region, in Africa, even in the US, tend to go back to poverty after a few more years. They could not continue with their investment, with their wealth, to the next generation. Even in West Nile, Adeko, Lonye, Imanzipini, Awitaruboni. It is as if it is a curse. Just because we're not disciplined, we do not want to pass our investment to the second, third generation because of our indiscipline. Therefore, there's a word that I can use tonight for all of us. The word gladly, somebody can just type it down. It is called delayed gratification. If you want to be a smart, disciplined investor. Delayed gratification. Let the profits accrue. You grow. You grow. One day you can be able to do the things you're not being able to do. So the approach is delayed gratification for smart investors. The last question, maybe the second last, is the leverage of technology by the smart investors. In the world today, not in Arua or West Nile, wealth and investment has moved to ICT technology. That's why you hear Alibaba doing work online, no longer being a medical person or an engineer per se, whichever way, but ICT gurus. The Facebook, is it called Michael Zuckerberg or whatever? These are the people in the new world order who are maximally using ICT, creating these platforms. Now, for us as investors to maximize and grow our investments, then how can we now use this? First, we need to invest in knowledge of how money can be made using these platforms. Whether in Facebook, whether in WhatsApp. People use WhatsApp to abuse. Just look at our different groups, whether in West Nile, whether everywhere. You are constantly abusing me as a politician. You are paying for the data. You know, this is the highest ignorance. You use data, you use ICT, you make that money for somebody to pull down another person using the platform, not knowing that the same platform, you could use it positively to invest and grow your wealth, or to use good ideas so that we can grow together in these different platforms. So as a smart investor, let us now learn how the different platforms, whether WhatsApp, whether webcam, whether Facebook, whether emails, whether what can be effectively used to grow our investments than pulling or than abusing it. This I want to relate it to the last question raised by one of the gentlemen, that in Onjivu Street, there seems to be every person doing the same business. Saloons are everywhere. Children's shops, children's clothes are everywhere. You remember my first opening statement. As a smart investor, what problem do you want to solve as an investor in the world? Now, if you know in Onjivu Street, the problem of saloon is being answered through other people. Do you want to say that there are no other problems in the world people are suffering from that you can't diverse in? You want to have an idea in? But in the event that you still want to venture into saloon in Onjivu Street, my take would be, you need to bring a unique product. It is about demand and supply. Something which once marketed in all these platforms, or whichever way you use it for marketing, can be as unique product in Onjivu Street that can bring some niche persons in your shop, other than copy and paste, copy and paste. Our problem, our biggest problem is we are not innovators. We are not thinkers, creative thinkers in investment. We are not, but we just rather copy and infeasibility, not doing the underlying factors for the decision that you're going to take. I can end with as an advice, my 3 words. I always repeat them. I always share them with people, my friends. I say, if you want to do any investment, whichever way they are, there are 3 factors. Economists will say factors of production includes land, capital, labor, and entrepreneurship. But for a smart investor at a young age, you need 3 things: the demand and supply, and location, 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 and location. Where do you want to meet the supply? From what point of location? Very key in investment. You cannot establish, in my view, you cannot establish a state-of-the-art saloon in Mariokolo, in Rhino Camp, where power has just gone, where the demand will be less, but you rather invest your saloon where the demand will be highest. You cannot invest and build a petrol station in which maybe across the Nile, in a place called Amur, where vehicles do not reach, where borders reach once in a while. Let's be wise. Location for the demand and supply for investments to make us what we are. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Ronald Afidra, for those responses. We're grateful for speaking clearly and giving us those responses. And I think, Becca, it's like we underestimated the time for this discussion. It's like this discussion is very, very important, and a lot of people are interested in it. I've seen 2 hands up, actually 3. I've seen Canon Isaac, and I've seen Joel, I've seen Vinix HD. So I just want to give some few minutes for this people to raise their questions, starting with Canon Isaac. Please, you can unmute and speak up. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Wilbert, and our presenters. I actually sent my information on the chat, so let me just read it. I'm happy I joined in the teaching. I call it teaching, which has a lot of information. My observations: life is so easy for our people that a person only needs 365 relatives to meet their needs all the year round. Some of these things which force people to invest are hard conditions. So if life is easy, your food, your house, why invest? One can work, but all the relatives and the members of the community use your money. And Honorable Afidra will tell us that becoming a politician, your community property. A child dies, where is the Afidra? Big person dies, wedding, everything. So we spend a lot of our money on weddings, funerals, and other celebrations. I call it problem of mindset. How can we change this mindset following what I've stated above? Thank you very much.
Yes, Wilbert, you are on mute.
Sorry. Okay. Thank you, Canon Isaac. Thank you, Canon Isaac, for that.
Yeah.
For that, let's have Joel WA. Can you unmute and speak, Joel?
Yes, I can. Ngwandio, can you hear me?
Please,
Okay,
Joel,
thank you.
you're loud and clear. Please proceed.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I wanted to say that all Joes are great Joes. So me being Joe and Dr. Aita being Joe, we're going to go places. But besides that, Ngwandia, thank you very much for putting this space together. I really appreciate it because it has brought out a lot of information that should be commonplace, but it's not. And that's one of the reasons our young people continue to struggle. The second point I wanted to make was that our young people nowadays tend to look for shortcuts, which is not the case. And Dr. Aita has made a very good point of that you need to have that discipline and continued discipline and growth. My last point is to honor Afidra's point there. There's always something to be done that can create value. We see people coming from India, China, wherever it is, and setting up shop in all the localities and still being able to make money. So there's that ability to create money or to create value in whatever neighborhood you are. My question for Dr. Aita is, we see things like the privatization minister going around saying, buy Ugandan, build Ugandan, the Namamve connection. How can we tap into things like that to allow for people to grow, or at least tap into the government programs that are trying to build industries?
Yeah. Thank you, Joel. I think Joel is joining us from Canada. You're welcome, please. Let's have Vinix HT, and then Joel and Honorable Afidra will respond to these questions.
Okay, thank you so much. I think my question also goes to Dr. Joel. I'm joining from South Sudan, actually. I'm in Juba currently. And my question goes like this, for Joel, who has ever been to Juba, I know you know of the security situation and the insecurity. So as a young investor in a country like this with insecurities, how can you navigate around the insecurity while you're trying to invest? Also, secondly, some of us left home. South Sudan is my maternal home, and my paternal home, I'm from Koboko. But now, because of less opportunities, what some of us left home to go look for greener pastures in the nearby countries. How can we relate leaving home? Though some people say if you leave your localities, it's a little bit difficult learning things from out. But we know that there are people who leave also the countries to come to Uganda to invest. How can we correlate leaving home and investment, and how best can we strategize on that? Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I think I will start by an earlier question asked by somebody about coffee. He said, why is coffee not part of the long-term investments in West Nile? Yeah, actually, Zombo area, they have moved with that quite far, but the rest of West Nile needs to adopt that. Actually, one of the big investments people can actually look at is coffee, because the moment you invest in it, it continues and continues and continues, moving on. So we'll also like to add that as one of the smart investments, that is coffee. I think West Nile needs to start adopting coffee growing. I think we can be able to do a lot in that. Our friend Vinix asked about how can you navigate through insecurities. It's so unfortunate that South Sudan is going through what they're really going through. South Sudan has a lot of opportunities, a lot actually. With peace in place, that country can easily surpass so many African countries. But with the insecurity, things become very, very difficult to really do anything. It becomes very, very difficult. The biggest prayer we can just give is that in whatever you're doing in South Sudan, you be safe, because it can't really be that easy to be able to do something in any secure place. It's not easy. The biggest thing we can do is to pray that things move on very well soon. We hope that peace will come very soon, and so that people can thrive. Is wants peace. The ordinary South Sudanese wants to make his own money, and all that. So I really pray very, very much that peace comes in. With that, we really pray for South Sudan. That is the Phoenix. Unfortunately, that's what I can really say, because it is not easy to actually thrive in such a situation where there is insecurity. Although you will find there will be those who will benefit out of it, but it's not something very easy. And Fred Otto also talked about questions about tapping into the Buy Uganda, Build Uganda. How can we attract local investors from the West Nile to help the upcoming startup founders? Yeah, one, there is interestingly a lot which goes on in this country. Unfortunately, a lot of people also don't know what is actually going on, to one extent because we generally don't seek for information. The information is actually there, it's open, but we don't seek for it. You'll find a Chinese will come, he will look for that information. Any Indian will come, he will look for the information. Recently in Terego, Teresians were making noise about some Chinese who was mining gold in Terego. So I asked them, I said, you guys, why are you making noise against these Chinese? Did you know there is actually a website which publishes these gold sightings in West Nile? And when you check, we actually don't know about it. The person who actually is one of the biggest geologists in this country is actually from West Nile. So many times we actually don't seek for these informations. I think the first thing to do is to seek for the information, get to know what is available, going to these organizations' websites, going to these ministries. Sometimes some of the civil servants can be very annoying, but sometimes you have to push. The more you push, the more you get. You don't just go once. One thing I've realized dealing with civil servants, I'm sorry if one of them is in this group here, you don't just go once and then you go away. You bench. Sometimes I sit there on their desk. I said, I'm not leaving until I get this thing. So the moment you are able to push, you will get what you want. But if you go with that entitlement that these guys are working for us and we are supposed to get this, you'll be disappointed. So there is a lot of information out there which many people are actually not knowing. Two, Fred, you talked about investors with upcoming startups, founders. You see, in this world, there is a way God does not give everyone everything. He gives one very handsome person, but in the brain, he decides not to give. He gives another one very good ideas, but he doesn't give you money. I think that's how the world is supposed to balance. Many innovators are given innovative mind, given money. They are not given entrepreneurship ideas. Then there are some he is a very good entrepreneur, but he may not have and run actually a business, and he can have capital, but he doesn't have the idea. So what Silicon Valley decided to do was Silicon Valley set up a platform for all those people to come together, for the innovator, for the entrepreneur to come together in what they call venture capital. Now, venture capital, ideally, the innovator comes with his idea, says, this is what I want to do. If I do this, it is going to do this, and it will bring this amount of money. It will solve this problem. Meanwhile, a venture capitalist will be hearing the idea. Then the innovator will now say, I need 20 million to make this idea of mine a reality. And if somebody can give me this 20 million, I will give them 30% of the what he will be. That 20 million will be called equity contribution. So when you now agree, you do a negotiation, the innovator will say, no, 30% is too much. I can only give you 20% for that 20 million. You negotiate until you agree. Once you've agreed, you set up a company, you give the person the 20%, and he gives you the 20 million, and your innovation comes out, and there's a prototype. Now, once you come up with this prototype, you now go together with him. You remember both of you are now shareholders in this company. You now need bigger money to take this prototype to the market. So you guys will go out now to look for what they call first, I've just forgotten them, but first time investors into the business. They will now put money for you to produce this prototype to go to the market. Now that is how it works in the Silicon Valley in the USA. That is why you see people like Mark Zuckerberg, they came out of that, Silicon Valley, plus many other billionaires in the USA. But you find they have actually very small shares. They don't have 100%. They actually get equity contribution from these people. Now, that VC has actually spread across the world. In Europe, it is very strong. In Africa here, it's very strong in Nigeria, very strong in South Africa, very strong in Egypt. And even in Kenya, in East Africa, it's quite very strong in East Africa. But currently in Uganda, there's still a very, very big challenge. The people who have the money, they don't understand it. The innovator thinks he needs to own his business 100%. He holds it like this. Even the thing is rotting, but he holds it until he gets tired and disappointed. He goes back to the village, doing nothing, and yet with a very good innovation. So there is now need for the two groups to understand how venture capital actually operates. Right now, actually on Monday, we are signing a memorandum of understanding with Mildmay Group. Mildmay Group has Mildmay Research Company. Mildmay Research Company. My company, Jawada Design Institute, is signing an MOU with them to create a platform for innovators. And one of the reasons I've actually come, right now I'm actually in Dubai. One of the reasons I've come here is I want to come and set up one of the investment companies here in Dubai. And the purpose is to be able to adopt AI. We want to bring AI into healthcare. So Dubai has set up a very good platform here for AI innovators. So we want to come and set up this company here in Dubai. And then with the mild May, we now start getting investors. So we want to create that platform where the investors can come, innovators can come, and then we have a kind of a Silicon Valley kind of thing, starting it small, but then be able to grow. So until Ugandans will be able to understand how that performs, we will not be able to go very far. If you look at, there's this Ugandan guy, why do I always forget his company's name? There's this platform for sending money across Africa. What is it called? Anyone knows it? There's an app for cheaper cars. Cheaper cars. Do you know the CEO is actually Ugandan? He started the idea here. Nobody understood him until he actually had to go to Silicon Valley. When he went to Silicon Valley, immediately he got around $30 million. By around COVID, I think he was close to around $2 billion. They have gone in partnership with a Ghanaian guy, but they had to go to Silicon Valley for people to understand them. And yet there are so many people here who actually have money. Now, our rich people, they are constructing hostels, they are constructing apartments. Now, that is what they say, you're a rich man when you have hostels and apartments. But out there, people are actually investing in these innovative ideas, and that's where money is moving. So we're hoping that this will be able to start something. Actually, Fred, you are the one I think I know, isn't it? You have a very, very beautiful idea in healthcare. We had a discussion with you. I think one of these days you need to come to Mildme and we have a little bit detailed discussion with you on that particular aspect. So those will be some of the things we need to really look at, where the innovators and the investors can be able to come together and do business. Kenya is way ahead of us. Last year alone, they were able to attract over $250 million. But Uganda, I think we attracted like only $5 million as the equity, VC equity contribution. So those are now some of the areas we need to look at to actually move innovation and investors to the next level. And finally, on my side here, there is the issue of social media. Really, if you are having your business and that business is not on social media, so where are you? You really, really, really have to put your business on social media. We encourage that. Actually, all our students at Jawada Design Institute, everyone must have a social media platform to be able to really promote their businesses. So we should really do everything possible. Therefore, some of these funds are very cheap. Let's make sure we buy them. There should be no excuse about that. Let's buy, let's be on social media. That's a free platform for us to be able to advertise ourselves. With that, I really want to request that I will stop here. Otherwise, this is a very beautiful platform. The organizers, anytime you need us to talk more, we can always be there for you guys. And for those who needed our book, I've put a telephone number I've put my telephone number in the inbox. You can send me a WhatsApp, and then I asked my team to deliver. For the people in this group, I think the book will sell it at 50,000, but for this group, I think I will sell it at 30,000, so that the members here can be able to get the book. You can just put, I don't know what the name of this group is. We put that as a password. Then I can ask my team to send you. Otherwise, have a lovely night. See you again.
Wow, thank you, Dr. Joel, for those encouraging words. I believe Honorable Ronald Afidra also still has some responses to make. I want to give this time to him, and then also possibly he will make some concluding remarks as we come to a close of this session. Thereafter, maybe I will hand over to Becca. Honorable Afidra, you are welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joel, for the rich minds and brains we have. I love always talking to you. I have 3 things to comment and to finalize on. Online smart businesses using these different platforms we have will definitely need what is not going to be stopped by any means. People are going to move away from talk SIM to smartphones. And as this penetration and numbers increases in our region, in our country, we must tap into these online platforms to market our businesses. So let's move them to online. Second, Canon Isaac, thank you so much. You spoke what we go through as politicians, but not only politicians. In West Nile or in Uganda at large, in our society, where we have few people who have an income, and that income appears to be for the entire community, and that is the cry. And therefore, if the income is for the entire community and it's coming from one person, you become the God, the helper, every person in that community. And because it is mindset, I would wish to have some few proposals other people with time can have their say on. The foundational steps that has led to this kind of mindset by extracting from one person his investment to the entire community is a structured problem being faced over time by what we've been subjected to in the few years. I want to believe our forefathers, my father, they had the spirit of Ubuntu, the spirit of my brother's keeper, where your child can come and stay or live over in your house with a responsibility that this is my brother's child, this is my sister's child. It was never extended to non-existing relationships. And this is affecting innovators across. This being a mindset, it has been caused by 3 things. 1, a society, especially in Africa, in Uganda, in the West Nile, we believe poverty cycle can only be broken by education. But now that we are not educated in our society so much, what will happen with the community? Lack of education is making us depend on each other, and the small investment monies are taken away. Second, the economy. Money is in the hands of few people in our society. Where else will the people run? In the entire clan, 10 people are educated, 1 is employed as a teacher. You shoulder the entire responsibility of your society. Opportunities to our people are very few, whether in investment, whether in which sector. That means eating from one fruit. This has been coupled with laziness in our society. Much as our community are uneducated, they are more so lazy. How do we go about with this? We want to go back, in my view, Our foundations are from our parents, from our family. People who are here on this platform, we can be the change makers. Let's put the good minds, good attitudes, good mindset in our children. Whoever comes in our responsibility and our responsibility, we impact in them good ethics. We show them the way of faith, because people have lost the way. Religion and God is no longer in the center of things. It means we are running away from God. Dependent syndrome is coming. And of course, our customs and the traditions. These things were not there in our culture. And we must revive our customs. We must revive our religion. We must impact in formal and formal education with good culture in our society, so that little by little we can impact the change together with all other stakeholders, so that if hard work comes in our society, people can take the responsibility of their own selves, of their own children, of their own events, their challenges into their hands, other than transferring them to other leaders within the society. I know it is possible. The last one from me, which I want to compliment Joel on, is, as people from West Nile, what is West Nile known for? What are you and me known for in West Nile? I'll give you an example. In Western Uganda, it is known for milk and milk products and meat. In Central, it is known for coffee and matoke. What are we known for? Somebody talked about coffee in Zombo. I know we've been known for as traders, but from my side as now a political leader, I can summarize this with, we've had a great challenge. We thought our problem is power. Power has been taken. We'll continue to advocate for more power, to create a platform for the different investors to thrive to their full potential in our region. Power is available. We are saying that maybe the road, still we're working on the road. We need the railway to bring goods nearer. Our aspirations as leaders is industrialization because of our neighborhood in Congo, our neighborhood in South Sudan and Central Southern African Republic. But the opportunities are a lot to add value to the raw materials even across Congo in West Nile. Our hopes are that if Arua Airport becomes an international destination, then we can be exposed to the outside the world, and we tap resources from where Joel is. Instead of flying up to Entebbe, flies from Dubai directly to Arua, we can begin to expose West Nile and the region to the outside the world. And there we grow in investment, we grow in our portfolios, we grow at large, and the dependent syndrome can be able to reduce through creating employment to the youth whose labor is available that we can tap into. Because this labor, you know, what we only sell is energy in West Nile. We do not sell, we don't have many to sell their skills, to sell their minds. People rely on energy, but energy fades with time, but knowledge remains. So it is our responsibility to convert the energy our people have, the dependent syndrome, into something that is very much sustainable, that we can pass to our generation, the next generation. I think, in summary, the ball is in our court. Those who are able to be here on this and change our region and change our destination. And I know it is possible. We are living examples. We grew within the community. And if many more of us can become more better than us, together, the sky is the limit for the people of West Nile and Uganda at large. We can begin to influence the world from West Nile. Thank you so much, everybody who participated. Joel, thank you so much. Canon Isaac, thank you so much for being online, for guiding us, for always speaking these words. We pray that you keep on with us until we see these things come to pass. Thank you, organizers. You have a blessed night. Back to you, to Becca. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Joel and Honorable Ronald, for speaking to us this very evening. And this has been very sensational, educative, transformative, and we really appreciate so much your effort and your time you've given to us this very evening. We can't appreciate you enough, but we pray God blesses you for the energy and the time you've put together to make sure that many people about entrepreneurship and investment. I see we were up to almost 80 participants in this session, and the numbers dropped maybe due to some other competing priorities. And I think we couldn't cut this discussion short because it was really very, very important for us to keep it going on. And I have seen requests from participants to be members of the great family. Becca, this is something that you will need to handle. And I was not able to record this discussion because I think I'm not permitted. I don't know whether you had a recording from your side. And therefore, having said all this, I want to hand over back to you, Becca. And thanks for having me as your moderator for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wilbert, and everyone who participated. My special thanks goes to our two keynote speakers, Dr. Engineer Joel Aita and Honorable Afidra. Ronald, you did justice to the topic, and I am so much humbled by all the information that you poured out onto us. May God reward you more than what even we could imagine. This is what our current generation needs. Just to let people know something about the great family, it is a WhatsApp group that I formed together with a few people, which mainly we focus on issues that affect us and how best we can handle them. From a WhatsApp group now, as I talk right now, we are finalizing the process of being registered as a CBO so that we can operate normally. And the platform does not only handle family talk alone. There are a lot of things that we focus on. So those of you who want to be part of the platform, I've dropped my number in the chat box. You will text me on that line. I will have conversation with you. I'll share with you what we do, our policies, our activities, our terms. And if they are fine with you, it's going to be fine with me really to accommodate you in a WhatsApp group. Because not that every time we have discussions related relating to investment, at times we do things like marriages, we do things in relation to our spiritual life. We cover a lot of things because our goal is to transform people spiritually, emotionally, physical, social, so that they can be a better person to make a community of a self-reliant person. Thank you so much, guys. We will meet again after 2 weeks. How you got the link will also be the same way you'll get the other one. But if you also qualify to be part of the great family, surely you'll have access to the link a little bit earlier. But we normally do this discussion after every 2 weeks. That means the guy who is in charge of this is Oguzu Daniel. He is the person that we have made in charge of family talks. So after him assembling the topics and the speakers, we will come out to communicate this out. Thank you so much. Lastly, about the discount that our own, that is Doctor, has given unto us, about buying the book of Entrepreneur's Mind at 30K for people who are on this platform. I would really recommend that people who we are part of this discussion tonight will benefit from this discount as well. But for us to be fair that we don't accommodate people anyhow, kindly reach through me. I've dropped my number there so that I will surely endorse you that yes, truly you are part of this discussion, and the people who are in sales in the sales unit of Doctor will reach to you. So I will really endorse you. I have taken record of everyone who has been part of this discussion, and it will really make work easy so that business can be done very well. Lastly, I have recorded this discussion, and I will be sharing the link probably tomorrow. I need to upload it into YouTube so that you can follow it from there and share it with people that would love to benefit from this rich information. Thank you so much. From me to you is just appreciation. And lastly, before I forget, I would love to appreciate our father, that is Canon Isaac Anguyo, who has spared his time to be with us for all these 2 hours, even 2.5 hours, I think, for this discussion on Canon. Thank you so much. May God bless you. Our generation needs more than this. If we see elders trying to tell us the ways that we need to follow, we can't take it for granted. May God bless you. And next time when we call upon you people, I'm sure you will not disappoint us. You'll also give for us your time and lead us into this kind of discussions again. Finally, let us not only listen to these things, let's put them into practice. And we are trying to develop some follow-up mechanism on what we have discussed and how the impact is on our lives. So we have talked about investment. Let's put this into practice. After a year, 2 years, let's come out with testimonies. I started a liquid soap business, maybe produce business, saloon, treasury bonds. I've gone into forming my own CBO, and this is how I am growing. These are the things that we want to know, because when the likes of Dr. Aita will not be there, whom are they handing over to? It is me and you. From me to you, good night. I will request one more person to pray for us as we leave this platform. Let me check around, and I'll request Gilbert Abaku to pray for us. Thank you.
Yeah, let's humble ourselves and we have a word of prayer. Most gracious Father, we thank you for tonight. We thank you for such a great opportunity that you've given us to gather here and to listen to this elaborate presentation by our presenters. And we thank you for the great opportunity and the idea that you've put in the hearts of our leaders, the likes of Mr. Mawa Baker, the CEO of the Great Family, who came up with this important idea to bring the youth of West Nile together, to have such a time, to share ideas and to see a way of growing. May you enlarge their territories. Lord, we still pray for more ideas and for the future presenters to come with ideas that shall build the region. We ask for your provision, that you can give us the capital in terms of ideas and finance to invest in the ideas that already been presented to us, so that in 2 to 3 years to come, we shall come back to share the goodness, to share your goodness to us, O Lord. May the glory go back to you through Jesus Christ, our prayer and believed.
Amen.
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 Amen. Thank you. Good night. Bye-bye.
Amen. Amen. Amen.
Good
Good night. Yeah.
Good night.
I will request you to keep monitoring the entries. When Honorable Afidra joins in, please let us know so that we'll be able to recognize him. Oh, I see he has